there is no cure for stuttering, but that there are treatments. Is that correct?
Correct. So stuttering is a chronic condition, but in many individuals, it can be successfully treated. I have treated individuals who have had severe to profound stuttering, and as a speech language pathologist, we need to understand that stuttering treatment is not only just speech therapy, it's a comprehensive whole person treatment. So you are treating the disfluency by giving them different speech strategies to help them with increasing their fluency of speech, such as slow turtle talking, or teaching them how to control their breathing when they speak. But also, we go out into the community and we educate the client and their parents to participate in organizations such as the National Institute of Stuttering, the American Institute of Stuttering, where President Biden spoke. He gave such an inspirational speech. It made me cry. But it's all about the comprehensive, full approach to treating stuttering.
Obviously, you think that it was extremely helpful when the president was candid and was public about his stuttering?
It is so important for individuals who stutter, especially when President Biden just candidly told everybody that stuttering is not, it does not make a person. He was a severe stutterer, and let me rephrase, he was a severe individual who stutters, because stuttering does not define the person. It's something they do. It's the way they talk. So if more individuals like President Biden got up on the platform and said, listen, I stutter. This is me. I'm obviously the President of the United States. I'm very intelligent. I have no cognitive deficits. But if you bear with me, sometimes I will stammer or I may repeat my words. And it's just my pattern of speech, is who I am. So yes, President Biden is just an inspiration to so many people who stutter, and to speech language pathologists, to encourage and to continue to promote education.
I think he became public when people began misinterpreting sometimes his hesitancy in speech and saying, oh, it's senility, or, you know, he doesn't know what he's saying, that sort of thing. What are the misconceptions that people often have about stutterers?
So years ago, so when President Biden was young, that was before I was born, of course, people would assume that people who stutter were less intelligent, that they had some kind of mental retardation, is a word that we don't use nowadays. And it isn't true. Most of my main mentor in my life, a lot of people whom I love, they are the most successful people I know, and they stutter. People still have the tendency to be in a room with a person who stutters and get quiet and gasp, or they may even laugh. Children at school, my clients go through bullying at school. So I'm also a counselor, speech language pathologist, because I'm not only speaking for myself, I'm not only speaking for Total Speech Therapy, my company, but as all SLPs, speech language pathologists, we end up being advocates and counselors, because individuals do not understand that stuttering affects people psychologically. So we're still dealing with this, and we need a lot of education and advocacy to continue to change from a grassroots level people's perceptions of stuttering.
Yeah, what are the things that you have noticed in children? You said bullying. What are the other things, the other psychological and emotional impacts on children when they are in school and they stutter? What happens to them?
I work with children at all ages. So sometimes for children who have stuttered since preschool and they just find no solution to their stuttering, they may end up with diagnoses such as depression, anxiety. They may resent going to school. They may feel as though they can't achieve their goals in life. And that's another point that President Biden made, is that when he left the house every day, he said this in the American Institute of Stuttering. I think it was he made a special speech that day, and he said that his mother made sure that every day when he left that house, that he knew he was special. He said, "Look at me." His mother said, "Look at me. You are special. Remember that you are the most intelligent boy in this class. Remember that you are an excellent athlete." And if we educate people to let their children know that their stuttering does not define them, they are a whole person. They are intelligent. So back to your question, children are dealing with the fact that they have low self-esteem. They don't know that they are intelligent. They really think that stuttering defines who they are. And they need more people, educators in the community, and even police officers. You may have I had a teenage client who had dealing with a police officer, and the police officer told him, "Hurry up, spit it out, spit it out." And he was so panicked that he stopped speaking. That can lead to violence. So we just need, in 2021, we have improved, but we have so much education to continue to provide.
When I, on Monday, attend one of the sessions between one of the clients and one of the therapists, what are the things that you do in a session? Do you do vocal exercises? What am I going to see?
Okay, so like I said, Stuttering Intervention is comprehensive. So on Monday, when you come visit, we do have an adult client who has stuttered severely since she was younger, and we have a child client who may make it depending on weather. So it's hard, with all the snow. So we utilize stuttering intervention techniques that are specialized, because we are all trained to provide this level of therapy, which may include stuttering shaping strategies, such as if you're working with a young child, you want to make it fun and interactive. So you may use a little car, and you may have picture symbols which help the child to remember to reduce their rate of speech. That's called slow talk or turtle talk. So instead of, for instance, a parent speaking to their child and saying, "Hurry up, think before you speak, hurry up, da 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 da," then we would educate not only the child, which we do in therapy as well, but the parent on the strategies we use. So a child may be more receptive to reinforcing this speech by saying, "Okay, remember turtle speech like Miss Yasmina taught you." It may be a more positive experience, because we still want the client to embrace themselves as a person who can achieve great things. So therapy is going to engage that as well. Now, when we're working with older individuals, such as middle school students or high school students or even adults, we incorporate the community into therapy. We advocate for the client to participate in these stuttering organizations, any stuttering groups that are out there, stuttering conferences, stuttering camps. So that may be a part of therapy. And when you also come to observe, we may even place a telephone call to a local pizza restaurant and have the client have a functional activity that will help them feel more comfortable in the community setting. So as I said, therapy for stuttering is very comprehensive. So you may see any one of those things.
It's my understanding that of the children who develop stuttering when they're little, about 75% of them may outgrow it, or it will not become a defining part of their life. But 1% are lifelong stutterers.
Yes.
What is the difference between those who outgrow it and those who are lifelong stutterers? And those who are lifelong stutterers, how do you help them just accept that fact and make it a part of their life?
It is hard to tell, well, not really hard to tell, who will continue to stutter throughout their lifespan. But usually as they get older, we can predict. So at 2, it may be harder to predict if the child will continue to stutter or outgrow the stutter. But as they reach elementary school and middle school, we may have a better prediction of if they will continue to chronically stutter. But as you said, so many clients, so many individuals outgrow the stutter with the help of a speech-language pathologist. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but from my experience, I've experienced that it may be harder for an individual to outgrow the stutter without professional help from a speech-language pathologist. Now, for the individuals who chronically stutter throughout their life, speech therapy can also help, because we help to use compensatory strategies to help reduce the amount of stuttering, the frequency of stuttering, to reduce negative behaviors of the stuttering. We're also counselors, as I said, to help them feel as though they can still achieve their dreams. Just because you stutter all your life doesn't mean that you'll stutter severely, but it may mean that it may come up. You may be tired. Once again, getting back to President Biden, because I love to hear him speak about it. He's just so candid. He said that his wife says, sometimes you still do stutter when you're tired. And he's like, oh, okay. So we're here. Speech-language pathologists as a whole, we are here to educate, to make people feel more human, to give them hope and aspirations to continue to be themselves. Because if a person continues to stutter all of their life, that's not going to define them, but we are here to help them.
Obviously, I'm sure you saw a number of years ago the film King's Speech, which was about King George VI, and his ability or his work to overcome his stuttering. Do you know the film I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And in that film, because it was a dramatization, it seemed to be saying, or it seemed to be implying, that it was his childhood pressure of his father that it created this in him. And he clearly was a lifelong stutterer who had to take in techniques when he was giving public speeches in order to control it. Did anything in that film ring true to you?
Oh yes, definitely. The fact that he had to go through so much to prepare his speech is something that we do in therapy therapeutically. We have people who their main goal is to be able to speak at work, and they want to do a presentation. And it may be easy for us to write a quick paragraph and to speak through, but they may have to scratch out words, put slashes between certain words, count 1, 2, 3, 4. Think about their strategies such as tapping their legs. Some people use their hands more in order to increase the the melody, in their speech. So that's something that definitely rings true to me.
One of the techniques, I read something that said that singing is a different part of the brain than speaking, which is why some people can sing, people who stutter They can sing without stuttering, but speaking, it's a different part of the brain, which was fascinating to me. Is that true?
It does. Marilyn Monroe was a severe stutterer, severe. And when she sang, she didn't stutter at all. It's that melody is also a therapeutic technique we use to increase people's fluency of speech and stuttering. So it does work on that right side, that creative side, that rhythmic side of the brain helps to improve the fluency of speech. Yes.
I think the reason this is a timely subject is because of President Biden.
Right.
And I think when he finally became public, not like he'd hidden it, but when all of us became aware that he was a stutterer, I think it was shocking to a lot of people. And maybe it made them rethink. Is there some big message in there, do you think, that because he's been so public, now maybe is going to get across?
Well, yes. His message comes across as, you see, I'm president, and I stuttered. So if you stutter, you can possibly become anything you want to become. You can achieve anything you want to achieve, because Joe Biden, he stuttered severely as a child, and people, he said, laughed at him. He felt so insignificant, and if it wasn't for his family, who they were his society for stuttering, they helped to validate his sense of self, and for the professionals who helped him, he may not have felt as though he could achieve these dreams. So yes, his message is huge, and we need more individuals who stutter, like CEOs of major companies. They're out here because many people who stutter, as I said, are the most successful people out here. They may not all be public speakers, because some may just still want to be to themselves, but their message is huge. So I'm so thankful that President Biden decided to share that he has that history of stuttering.
This is terrific. I think I've gone through all of the questions I had. I have there's a young Maryland filmmaker. He now is in Hollywood, but he's from Maryland. His name is Ryan Geelan. He just made a documentary called My Beautiful Stutter, and it just won an award in Kansas, and it's now going to be distributed by Discovery. I'll give you information. March 11th, it's going to be released by Discovery.
Okay.
So he's allowing me the film in this piece I'm putting together. But it works with he filmed an organization called SAY. Have you heard of them? They have a camp in North Carolina. They have a theater group in New York. It's Stuttering Advocates for Young People.
Yes.
Have you heard of them?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, he went to their big fundraiser in New York, which had a bunch of stars and that sort of thing. And then he went to the camp in North Carolina, and the camp in North Carolina is kids from all over the country, of all ages, who go to camp together, and they all stutter, so they all have the support of the group, and really transformative experience for them, you can tell by watching the film. Anyway, it might be something I think you would find interesting, because it's right up your alley.
Yes, definitely is.
I mean, I think what would your message be to teachers and young people who are in class with someone who may stutter? Because I know, as you mentioned Biden, he talked about, in an article I read, he talked about a nun who mimicked him one day, and how he ran out of school. It was so cruel. I'm sure it was not her intention to be cruel, but it hurt him very deeply. Yes. I know it's hard for children to be patient when people who are stuttering are working through words. Yes. Maybe also hard for teachers, but what advice would you give them if they all of a sudden for the first time encounter someone who's stuttering?
Yes, I would say, do not laugh. Please, do not laugh. That goes for all of the students and the teachers. And I would also say to the teachers, educate. do research. Speech language pathologists who may also be in your school are here to educate if you are not familiar, if you are unfamiliar with stuttering. It's very important for the teachers to create a rule regarding communication, period. As once again, President Biden stated, you wouldn't laugh at an individual who had one leg. That would be inhumane. You wouldn't laugh at a child who came to class and had half of his face that was basically fallen off, or a cleft palate, or some kind of mutative, issue with their bodies. You wouldn't laugh. So it's all about educating our students, educating our teachers, our physicians, and the whole entire community about the comprehensive nature of stuttering. If you have a 3-year-old who's laughing at another 3-year-old, say, Anna is unhappy. Talk about her feelings, because it's comprehensive when you're mean or when you're laughing at an individual who stutters. So advocacy and education is essential when discussing this topic of individuals who stutter. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We covered everything I needed to, and I'm very appreciative. And I look forward to Monday, and
Yes.
maybe I'll see you there. But if not, thank you so much for talking with me.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank
All
you
right,
so
and
much.
I'll give you the information about that film if you're interested.
Yes,
I've watched
please.
it twice,
Wow.
and both times I found it really moving, really moving.
I would love that. Any information you can give me regarding that would be great, because I will pass it right on to my clients and their families, and I'm sure they'll be
Wonderful.
appreciative.
Yeah, I think anybody any family who's dealing with this would
Yes.
love watching it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Feel less alone.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Yasmina, and I
Thank
will
you.
perhaps see you Monday.
Thank you. You take
Thank you.
care.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.